Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 160. 160, woohoo! I know I said that I would change the intro, but I don't know what I want to change it to. So I've been listening to a bunch of podcast intro to try to get inspiration, but do I pay someone to do this? I don't know. How do you inspire a new intro? Another thing I find really hard is describing yourself and what you do. I find about me sections on your websites are always really hard, or telling someone what I do is really hard. I'm like, I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I public speak, and I do retreats, and I do mentoring, and so I guess I'm a mentor, and I also do PSYCH-K, so I guess I'm a PSYCH-K practitioner, and it's just how do you encompass all of the things into one? Anyways, it's on the to-do list, and there it shall remain until I am inspired to create a new intro. So if anyone has any ideas or knows where to source this out, please let me know. So I'm recording this podcast on Valentine's Day. You are getting this released on February 15th. So happy belated Valentine's. Happy Love Day to everybody. And in honor of Love Day, I thought it would be a good idea to answer a question that I recently got in a Q&A that I posted on Instagram. And the question was, what are my thoughts or experiences with soulmates? And do we have just one? So I actually put this out to the audience, and I posted on my Instagram a little question, and I said, what are your thoughts on this? Because I'm really interested to know kind of what people think. So I'm going to share all of those answers here today. So I personally am not someone huge into soulmates. I'm not looking for the one. I don't even know if I believe that we all have the one. There's so much choice involved. But anyways, I went to Google to get some research for us here today. And what is a soulmate definition? According to Dr. Tobin, a soulmate is someone who you feel deeply connected to, but not in a dependent or needy way. The guiding principle in a relationship between soulmates is that needs are equally met, because a soulmate relationship should challenge you to move from selfishness to giving. The realization that this person who shares your life is a part of yourself. A soulmate is an individual that has a lasting impact on your life. Your soulmate is your fellow traveler on your journey of life. You need one another to grow beyond the limitations of your individual selves. And then going back to Google University, what is a soulmate relationship? In romantic relationships, a soulmate refers to an intense connection where both people feel deeply drawn together, as if the affair was somehow destined to be. On the other hand, the New Age movement describes a soulmate as someone with whom you've experienced many lives together, often to fulfill a specific mission. Okay, one more, because I just really want to know what the internet thinks about this. Wikipedia says, a soulmate is a person with whom one has feeling or deep or natural affinity. This may involve similarity, love, romance, platonic relationships, comfort, intimacy, sexuality, spirituality, compatibility, and trust. A soulmate is when two people feel they are linked on a soul level in a significant or extraordinary way. So the question was, what are my thoughts or experiences with soulmates? Do we have just one? So I guess I'll share my thoughts, and then I'll also share your thoughts, what was inputted on Instagram. Again, at Medium in the Middle is my only account. There are many scammers out there, and I will never DM you for a reading. If you got a DM from me, it was a scam. Please block and delete that. At Medium in the Middle, spelled that exact way. I'll leave it linked down below. But before we jump into that, let's jump into announcements. I am still on the course Bonanza over here at Medium in the Middle HQ. So if you are waiting for Reiki Level 1, the next one is April 29th and 30th. If you are rating for Reiki level 2, the next one will be in May. Dates will be TBD on that. If you are interested in the advanced Reiki course, so I created an advanced Reiki practitioner course for after level 2. This is recommended to be about 3 to 6 months after you take any Reiki level 2. Yes, any student can join. You don't have to be my student, but I'm holding a live workshop on March 18th. The replay will be available to everybody, and if you don't feel ready yet, then you can always purchase the replay. It will live on my website after that. So that is very exciting. So excited to see so many of you signing up for that. And last but not least, the Middler Mastermind is starting at the end of this month. We start in 2 weeks. If you are a spiritual entrepreneur, a business owner, and you are ready to grow your business, this is for you. So the prerequisites are that you have a business, you're making money, you have a website, you see clients regularly, and you're ready to grow. This could be taking your part-time gig to a full-time. This could be just hitting a certain amount of money that you want to hit, but you're going to be working with like-minded people. We're going to meet monthly in the mastermind. It's going to be half lecture style and half discussion, so you still get some one-on-one attention in the issues going on in your business. We can hear from other people in the same boat. I am so excited about this. You guys know I love business. So there's 4 spots left in the Middler Mastermind. I will leave everything linked down below in the show notes for you for all Reiki trainings, the advanced course, and the mastermind. But those are this week's announcements. And then this week I pulled the card on live on Instagram. That was fun, and I did a audience choice. They got to choose what deck I pulled from, and the audience chose this week the Kyle Gray Angel Guide Oracle, and the card pulled was Learning Experience. You have dedicated a lot of your time, effort, and energy to understanding yourself and the world, and have had many experiences recently that have been great teachers. Even though not everything has been easy or perfect, there's been a positive in you that has come to understand yourself, your gifts, and your abilities better than ever. You are deeply connected to who you are, what you stand for, and what's important to you in life. When this card appears for you, angels are acknowledging the challenges and obstacles you have surmounted recently. Although it may have been a difficult time for you, your faith and inner strength have increased. Know that the cloud has a silver lining, and you will soon have moved beyond the feeling of being stuck or unsupported. Interesting. Learning experience. So I guess I will start off the episode with my thoughts or experiences with soulmates. And as someone who used to be engaged, I don't think there's just one person for you. That doesn't make sense. There's so many versions of who you are, who you're being, who you're becoming. It doesn't make sense that there's one soul for you for that. So I don't have any experience where I met someone and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're my soulmate. I do find that I've met people where they're familiar, where I've had a life with them before, or we've had a relationship before, or there's a connection that's kind of undeniable. But I don't know if I would say that I believe in soulmates. Like if someone were to say like, you're my soulmate, at this point in my life, I would roll my eyes. But I'm happy if you believe that or if you feel that even, because I just think it's a big thing to say. Do we have just one? In my opinion, no, that wouldn't make sense. But that's through my experience and my lens. So I was really, really interested to see what other people had to say about this. Like I was like, am I being a kind of like Scrooge, a bah humbug? Am I being, like, no, we don't have soulmates. So I just asked what other people thought about this to see kind of what the general consensus was. And it was actually very interesting to see what other people thought, because I do believe in like soul families. I believe that, we've definitely had many lifetimes with the people in our lives. I believe our most difficult relationships, the ones closest to us, are the ones to teach us the biggest lessons. I do believe that we've met people in different lives. I do believe that we've had many journeys with different people through different lives. That all makes sense to me, but to label one person in this whole entire universe filled of billions of people as a soulmate, like my soulmate would have to be living in Canada, in Banff, Alberta. That doesn't make sense to me. Yes, I could meet them when I was, not here, but I don't know. It's a tough one. So I'm going to read what other people said because I think it's interesting. So I asked on Instagram if people believe in soulmates or not and what their kind of opinion was of this. And these were the responses that I got. Yes, but I think more like soul family. Someone said, I think we have many soulmates in different forms. Your partner, your mom, your dog. Someone said, I think we can have multiple and they aren't always romantic. Soulmates can be a lifetime or maybe put in your life for a short time for a lesson. We are fortunate to reconnect with some of them in this time and place. Someone said we have very many soulmate potentials. Soulmates come in many forms, and I think we have an entire soul family. I do really align with the soul family. That makes sense to me. We come back with the same people around us to kind of learn lessons. There's obviously new people in every lifetime, but those familiar people, those people are like, oh, we've met before. We've done this before. We connect so easily. And then another person said, any mates of your soul, family, friends, romantic partners, ancestors. I believe we have multiple and not just lovers, can be friends, family, animals. Our souls meet in this lifetime to learn the lessons that each other's need. I resonate with that. I believe soulmates come in many forms, friends, partners, families, and strangers that become friends. Okay, I feel like a lot of us are on the same line about this. Oh, someone here wrote, yes, and although my husband is mine, I don't think a soulmate needs to be a romantic partner. Okay, that's nice to know that people feel like they marry their soulmates. I just think that's such a big role to give to someone. I don't know if I'd be like, you are my soul mate. That feels like such a huge responsibility. But I'm also sitting here single, not in a relationship. So I don't know if it's just because I haven't experienced this soulmate experience. We had one person that said no, they don't believe in soulmates. Another person said, I think you have many, and any of them would be a good fit at any given time. Another person said, I believe we have more than one soulmate. I think we have many for many different reasons or seasons. Yes, I agree with that one. Not just one, lots of people you can connect soul to soul with and not always romantically. I think we have multiple and they can be platonic relationships too. So I think the consensus is, yes, we have them, but they're in a lot of different forms. So they're not always a partner, but they are familiar. And I agree with that. I agree that we have people in our lives that this isn't the first time we've done this, experienced this. We know their souls. Like I can think of so many friends and it's just like we've done this before. Like you've been my sister in another lifetime for sure. We've struggled through this together before for sure. This isn't the first time I'm meeting you. Those people that you just meet with and you just click. I just don't know if I resonate with calling them soulmates. I think there's a purpose why we meet these people. I think that there's a lot that they can give into our lives. Like, I guess personally, I would resonate more with soul family or, soul friends where like, yeah, you're my soul friend. We've done lifetimes together. We've met before. We've done this together. Like that makes sense to me. But I just feel like maybe society has ruined the word soulmate for me. Like when people are searching for their soulmate. If you're searching for a grain of rice on the beach, that analogy doesn't make sense, right? Like there's just one grain of rice in this whole beach of sand for you. I just think that's very limiting and we're so evolving and we change and I'm not the same version of me 10 years ago. And I just think who you need changes and also who you need in your life at certain time changes. And then is that person evolving with you at the same rate as you? Are they pushing you to evolve? Are they slowing you down? Very interesting. A good conversation, though, to have because I normally this wouldn't come to my mind. I do like the analogy of like people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I also like the analogy. I can't remember it exactly, but it was like friendships are like a buoy, an anchor, or a boat. The anchors that pull you down and they don't want you to move, they don't want you to change, they want you to stay exactly where you are. The buoys that just kind of float in place, they don't add to you, they don't take anything away, they're just happy to be there. And then the boats that pull you forward, take you to where you want to go, take you places, show you new things. And I always think about that when I have someone in my life. I'm like, they're being a buoy. They're just around, or I'm like, I want more boats in my life. So I like to think of those type of analogies over like soulmates. But this was an interesting conversation because it's nice to know what other people think about this and what their perspective is around soulmates. I guess I would love to know, like, are people searching for their soulmates? Is this something that we like think there's only one person for us? I personally think no. That doesn't make sense to me. One person? No. Season, reason, lifetime? Yes. But very interesting. Good conversation. Thank you to everybody who submitted their opinions and inputs on that. There are just some topics that I've never really given much thought to. So it's interesting when I get asked these questions. I was like, let me think about that. Let me talk about that on the podcast. Let me see what other people have to say. Let me think about other opinions. And it's interesting to just form your opinion on things of, I might not have thought about soulmates really that in depth until someone asked me about it, and we're here on the podcast. So something to think about. Interesting to know your thoughts. I do post Q&As on Instagram sometimes, and if you have a good podcast idea, I am always all ears. I'll be doing another Q&A with the rest of the questions. I just wanted to give this one its own episode, and I thought for Lover's Day, how fitting. That's what we have this week. All of the links for everything you need will be down below in the show notes, all my courses to make an appointment with me. If you haven't already, please leave the podcast a rating and a review. I really appreciate it. It helps the podcast grow. Or share this episode with a friend, maybe get their opinions on soulmates, see what they think. It's always fun. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.